Good evening, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with the Hunt brothers and their attempted cornering of the silver market back in the early 80s. If you're not familiar with this story, you should really Google it and do some research on the Hunt brothers. It is an excellent piece of silver history that everybody really should know, especially if you're going to buy a piece of silver. You definitely have to know the Hunt brothers story. Now, a lesser talked about event took place in 95 in the copper market, where 5% of the copper ended up in the hands of this guy, Hamonica. Now, he ended up serving some jail time for his devious acts inside of the markets. But what I found interesting here is this article that I got from Forbes talking about those two events and how they may be happening again in the nickel market. Goes on to say like this. According to Citi, nickel might be undergoing a Hamonica moment because the physical market for the metal has become disconnected from the futures market, and a premium price routinely paid by Chinese steel mills which use nickel to make stainless steel has flipped into a discount for the first time ever. These escalating tightness on the London Metals Exchange and the disconnect with loosening physical indicators outside the exchange remind us of similar market dynamics during the Sumomoto affair in 95-96, Citi says. Goes on like this. Until recently, Chinese nickel consumers paid a premium of around $250 a ton for prompt delivery of the metal. But last week, the premium flipped into a $50 a ton discount, a very rare event in the metals market. Now, if you're not familiar with backwardation is sort of like an inverted yield curve in the sense that when you tell somebody, hey, hold on to your physical, whatever you got, for the future, and I'll give you a premium for doing that. You can understand that, right? But what ends up happening is in a backwardation is that you get a premium for your physical now. So you could sell your physical and buy a future contract at a lesser price. You see what's happening there? So not only do you make money off the trade, but you get your metal back. That's not typical. It's usually the other way around. On the LME, the nickel stockpile has dropped 45% since early this month, falling from close to 160,000 tons to 88,000 tons. But since October 14th, when nickel price hit a 5-year high of $8.14 a pound, it has fallen by 8% to $7.48 a pound. So not only has the stockpile shrunk by almost 50%, what was it, 45%, the price of it went down 8% at the same time, something you would not expect to be taking place. Goes on to say like this. The fact that they are falling sharply is a strong signal that the exchange backwardation is not matched by physical fundamentals, Citi said. And when a market is not matched by fundamentals, it is worth wondering what is happening and asking whether nickel is following silver and copper. So this is something that we're going to definitely have to keep our eyes on as far as nickel goes. Now, it's not like, the biggest trade out there, and I would imagine that you could probably ask 1,000 people and not one single person would ever have invested in nickel. It's almost exclusively a industrial commodity. But when you think about all the batteries that are going to be needed for the future and how important nickel is as far as the industrial commodity goes, I went and did some research on, and I just did a quick Google look on this, but I found I wish I could remember the site. I'll look and see if I can find it and put it in the post. But it says something about having 42 years of nickel left at current mining conditions. Now, in this article, they do talk about an increase in mining and how these nickel miners are getting excited about opening up some kind of past mines that haven't been opened up for a while. So that's kind of interesting to think that, here we have this shrinking of supply at the same time. We got, this backwardation taking place in the futures market and all these mines wanting to kick off at the same time. There's something definitely taking place in this nickel market. And like I said, it's something that we should definitely keep our eyes on. All right, Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know.